Alright. I think we are on. It has been some time, so gotta fill around with a little bit of shit. It's been some time indeed. Yeah, sorry guys, I've been away for a couple of months. Just been very busy with work, life, all that sort of shit, you know. Not a whole lot of time to do hobbying, but that is about to change. We are now going to jump into some of that said hobbying. How do we begin? I think what I want to do is look to paint a little bit of this up. Working on a bit of Necrons at the moment. I've taken on a commission, so that's what we shall do. And the theme that we're looking for at the moment is this kind of brassy look, is what he's after. It's like a weathered brass look. That's the sort of gist of it. So I was experimenting. This was my first test model. And it was just trying to get the color right. Not too bad a job, but it's too clean, way too clean. So we're not going to do that. We're going to look for this more weathered sort of look. And then we can work on other elements later. This was another little test one that we did with it, and I think I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Mainly looking at this part as the part that I'm most interested in. And then, yeah, pretty happy with it. So, let us begin. So we started with a base coat of dark jade. That's where this sort of greeny blue look is coming from. And now we're going to go in with some green oxide. And that is going to build up some of this undercoat type thing, which will help build that sort of corrosion effect that we're going to hopefully have towards the end of the model. So it's actually quite easy and a bit of a fun, relaxing step, this one. Pretty much a lot of dry brushing / stippling. So this step is mainly going to be stippled on because we want some of the base coat to obviously shine through. We don't want it to be completely covered. It will look quite shit, to be honest. While you're doing this, it won't look tidy or neat, but you just got to trust the process. So I'm really just jabbing at the model at the moment, and I do want to keep the paint kind of thin because otherwise you run the risk of building up unwanted texture with the blobs of paint. So just be aware of that when you're doing it. Like so. So we're going to do this over the entirety of the model. It'll build up like this kind of mottled effect. As we progress. Naveed, hello, over on YouTube. How you going, mate? So it's a fairly simple and quick step, but quite effective. And you'll see once we get a little bit further along in the process. Just keep going around, trying to get all the areas, not missing any spots. Nadine, hello my friend, how are you? I do remember you. Long time no see. Frankie, how are ya? Thank you, Naveed, appreciate it. Yeah, I was just sort of saying before, I don't know if you were in, so this is kind of where it will end up looking. Like, you can see in the recesses the subtle sort of green mottled effect. It's very subtle, but I think it's worth it. So that's the sort of end result that we're going for. Here's one that I completed a little bit earlier. It's a bit of a test model. Obviously not fully finished, but I'm talking about the frame, his skeletal body. Yeah, I haven't been on for a while, Nadine. Been very busy with work and life. Just, yeah, been quite a few months since I've touched TikTok, YouTube, all the social medias. Shit happens, you know. Sam, there you go. Thanks for dropping by. What is this? We are painting Warhammer miniatures, little plastic figurines. And it's bloody good fun. I'm pretty happy with that step so far. We can probably move on to the next one. Bria, how long does this usually take you to do? It depends. These ones are a bit quicker because the steps that I'm doing are not as intense. You could spend hours on models. So like, for example, this model here, I painted up, that took me a number of hours. I don't remember, but I'm probably going to say like 3, 4 maybe, can't quite remember. This one here took me quite a few hours. Recently finished this one for a commission. And then this one here, this was a number of years ago now, but when I was practicing, this one took me about 10 hours to do. So a long time. But yeah, obviously depends how much detail you want. Echidna, did I print it myself? No, these are all plastic miniatures, so not resin 3D printing. You can buy them from local game stores like Good Games or Warhammer or those types of shops. Okay, moving on to the next step. We're going to use a bit of turquoise. So still building up that corrosion sort of underlay that we're working on. Thank you. Can you explain what Warhammer is? That's a very big question, my friend. It's a sci-fi setting set 40,000 years into the future, but there are hundreds upon hundreds of books on it, so the lore is very extensive. I encourage you to Google it if you are interested. I'm glad you love it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Do I go to the movies much? No. I think I went to the movies for the first time in a long time the other weekend with my girlfriend to see The Housemaid, one of the two. Because she had read the book and was quite interested and keen to see it, so we went. Are you much of a movie buff? Do I paint any other figurines or just Warhammer things? Mainly just Warhammer. Haven't really gotten around to painting anything else. Don't know why that is. I think I just like the lore behind it, so it keeps me interested. Yeah, don't know. And I think the sculpts are really cool. The quality is good, so you know, keeps me around, keeps me addicted. What about you? How long have you been into the hobby? So as you can sort of see, it's kind of building up. We're doing less and less with the brighter colors. We don't want them to be too overwhelming. And it looks really kind of bad at this stage. Like it just looks like a kind of mess of turtle shell colors, to be honest. But that's okay. It'll add into the effect that we're going for in a moment. Lots of movies, mostly horror. Ooh, nice. I do like zombie movies, although I haven't seen the new 28 Years Later. I don't know. I've seen 28 Weeks and 28 Days, 28 Weeks. Yeah, they were cool back in the day. So let us move on to turning this thing a bit more bronze to get the result that we're looking for. There's a 7-hour YouTube video on the lore. Oh, my friend, you will go down a rabbit hole. Prepare to sink hours upon hours of time into it if you choose to get into the hobby. If you only just got into it, my friend paints anime figures, prints them and details them. Very nice. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people do printing, I think 3D printing, and there's so many different games that people do now with all that, so it's a great way to sort of just get started and see if you even like painting figurines. And cheaper, because Warhammer's expensive if you buy the proper stuff. Way too expensive for a little bit of plastic. So, sorry I didn't show you, we're going to use dark bronze from Pro Acryl now as our first dry brush. And now we're actually going to dry brush this, not sort of stipple. Get most of the paint off, I don't want to flood it. But we're going to go in and dry brush the entirety of the model. Trying to keep the turquoisey blue color in the recesses as best we can. Kimmy, what's this? This is Warhammer, painting little figurines. Welcome. The figurine we're painting up at the moment is a Necron. Necron Destroyer. I don't know what type of destroyer, I can't remember the name. But a Necron Destroyer nonetheless. Such a satisfying step going around with the dry brush, picking out the raised areas. Very beginner friendly too as well. Great way just to sort of get a model finished and looking quite decent if you've never painted a model before. Never heard of it, but it seems cool. Yeah, look, it is cool. It's relaxing, painting models. People play games with it as well. It's like a tabletop game as well. But not me. I'm not really into the gaming aspect of it. I much prefer painting the little things instead. We're getting there. There's a few more spots in the hard to reach areas that we need to get before we can move on to the next step. What do you think will be the hardest part to paint on this one? It's going to be the weapons that are the hardest. Most time consuming, I'd say, because this is how I want them to turn out. This was a test model that I did. So kind of like on the official artwork, they have this sort of blended look. We'll be doing that on this fellow as well. But that takes time. Bit of glazing, bit of wet blending, all the sorts of tricks. How long has this taken you so far? This little dude here, since we've been going live, so 17 minutes to get to this point. Kimmy, so not too long, but I was saying a little bit earlier to a few other people that were in the chat, you could spend hours upon hours on a model. Some people, when they paint for competition, will put 100, 200 hours on a single figurine, which is crazy. But obviously it shows, like they're like proper artists. Alright, I'm pretty happy with how that's turning out. Quite weathered. We could probably look to go to the next step at the moment, and that's going to be a slightly brighter bronze color. So instead of dark bronze, we're moving on to this one here. It's just called Spartan Bronze. Give it a good shake. It's kind of like a mid-tone bronze, I'd say. And then we've got one more, a really light bronze color that we're going to put over the top to pick out the highlights. So same thing, getting it on the dry brush, ready to go. Get off some of the excess and hit the model all around. And you can see it's just bringing a little bit of warmth to it because it's kind of a bit more of an orangey tone, this one. Whereas the last one was quite muted, a bit more brown, desaturated color. It's got that sort of warm orangey tone to it, which is quite nice as a mid-tone. But again, nice and light. We don't want to overpower our previous steps. I don't think we have. I think it's looking pretty good. Got kind of that verdigris effect in the crevices. Yeah. Looking sick if I say so myself. Alright, now let me just have a close-up look at this. It's easier when I put it close to my face. Yeah, alright, happy with that. Eagle Eye. Hello, my friend. How you going? Okay, Now we're going to move on to the last dry brushing step, and it's going to be using this bad boy here, light bronze from Pro Acryl. So chucking it on the palette. Grabbing me Necron and rinse and repeat. Dry brush, get rid of the excess on my paper towel. Use my thumb as a wipe away bit too. And now we're going to get the real highest of highlights. So focusing on the edges and sort of upward facing areas where you want it to be the most shiny. Like so. We don't need to go too crazy with it because we can refine this a bit later, which I will, with some of the edges. So I'll do some edge highlighting with the same color because when you're dry brushing, it's not as intense. I think that is probably the best word I can describe it, is when you go back in with an actual edge highlight with the pure paint, it does seem to be a little bit more opaque and stand out a bit better as well. Has that Elder Scrolls automation vibe to it. Yeah, was it Dwemer? Those guys kind of has that vibe, doesn't it? Nacho Cheese looks good. Just got back into 40k. Used to collect Tau. So just continued from 14 years ago. I'm waiting for the hate. Your missus wants to collect Necrons now. I think your missus is an enlightened one. Necrons was my first army. First foray into 40k, and I was a kid. So it's fun to be able to paint these up once again. Okay, quite happy with that. So, as you saw, quite a quick, job. Like, it didn't take us long. It took us 20 minutes to get from a pure green looking thing to this. So, very happy with that. Now, as I said, using this same color, it may not look as what do I say? May not look as entertaining or like worthwhile on the camera, but trust me, it is going around with these edge highlighting. Just some of the areas that are most prominent. So like the shoulders, for example, with that light bronze color, it will just make that extra little bit of difference to your model. It's definitely worth it. So we're going to do that now. Collecting Necrons, I love them. Thanks for showing how to do this, guy. You are most welcome, mate. I saw this recipe earlier today, like a weathered bronze thing. I thought I'd give it a whirl. Made a little mistake there, just wick it away. A bit too thick on that highlight. But yeah, I'm really happy with it. I think it's turned out really good. The sort of bronzed, weathered look. So hopefully you can find use with it too. Ugh, I'm butchering these highlights today. You can tell I've been away for a few months. What's going on here? Used to be way thinner than that, Aaron. Here we go. See if I can get that in camera. It's better. Nice. Happy with that. Looking good. So really just like these edges of these joints, I think, is the best places to pop these sort of highlights. Is this D&D or 40k? Clock me. It is 40k. This is a Necron Destroyer that we are painting at the moment, my friend. Do I have a finished one that you're working towards, or is this the first one? This is actually the sort of first one. So I showed this one earlier. Like it's the first batch that I'm doing. It's part of a wider commission that I'm doing for a client of mine. This was a test I did early today for the bronze. I'm quite happy with how it turned out. So it's kind of the bronze look and then silver accents. This here is kind of how I'm going to paint the weapons, just like how they are on the box art. That sort of blended green look is what we're going to go for. And then here's one I painted a little earlier, just stopping before I got to the weapons because it takes a long time to paint the weapons. And I thought it might not be as entertaining to start off with, so I thought I'd show you how I got to this bronze point to begin with. Kimmy, supporting from Brisbane. Thank you. Thanks for dropping around. Appreciate it. Okay. And then after this step, we can just pick out some of those joints with the metal color of our choosing. And when I say our choosing, I already know what one I'm going to use. It's going to be burnt iron from Vallejo Metal Color, because they make fantastic metallic paints. Happy with how that's looking now. You can sort of see how those edge highlights just make it pop that little bit more. Definitely worth doing. But don't do that. Fucking up. Be a bit more careful than me. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay. Too many hobbies. Wanted to get into 40k, but it was too expensive. Yeah, 40k is expensive. There is no doubt about it. It's kind of why I do commission painting, because I get to enjoy painting them without having to buy them myself. How good is that? Although I don't get to keep them, unfortunately. I do have to then ship them away, but still get enjoyment out of it. Okay. I'm going to stop there, I think. I can always go back a bit later to touch up any of those edge highlights where I think it needs it. But for now, I think it's done a good enough job and shown you why you should think about doing that on your models. And we can move on to the next one. Thanks, Nacho. How do you do it so the paint isn't so thick, but at the same time not too liquid? I can never seem to get it right. George, it just takes practice, my friend. You just have to get used to it. If you're new to painting, which you may be if you're asking something like that, I would suggest a wet palette. That's what I got here, and you can sort of see I've got my paints on the wet palette here. They stay wet for much longer. That's what it's designed to do, and you just need to trial and error It's really hard to sort of explain. Everyone has their own sort of ways of working. But yeah. Okay, what was I saying? Metal. Yes, this is the one I was talking about. Burnt iron from Vallejo is the one that we're going to use. So I'm going to give it a good shake up. Pop it on the pallet, and we're just going to go around and pick out these joints and stuff. All the bits that need to be metal colored. Hey, you need to get one of those. Yeah, wet pallets are a life changer. If you've never used one, so good. There we go. I disagree. Warhammer is expensive. In fact, it's extremely cheap compared to any other form of entertainment. Just like going to the movies and getting a snack will cost you like a box of Marines. Mia, I like the fact that you're talking about box of Marines equivalents. So, like, this car cost me 1,000 boxes of Marines. I mean, yeah, you could literally buy a single box of Marines and just paint for hours on end, right? When you think about hours to how much you're actually, spending money on for other forms of entertainment, it's true. And you can always strip the paint and start again. There's a hack for infinite Warhammer. Just one box of intercessors and paint every single chapter of Space Marines there is. Just keep stripping the paint. Rinse and repeat. There you go. Never have to spend another cent on new models. You are welcome. Okay. Getting there on these little silver bits. It's not the most riveting of stuff, particularly when on camera it looks almost the same color as the bronzy brass thing that we've painted. So I apologize for that, but it needs to be done. Paint these little neck things. Neck supports. Jacob, hello, how are you? I'm well, thank you, mate. How are you? Bodhi, did I build that? I did build it. I didn't print it though. It was plastic. Just put it together. Not too hard to build. That's for sure. Mia's bought a box of War Dogs for 50 euros, 50 hours of working on them, and already 20 hours of gaming. That's what I call return on investment. Great work. And many more hours to go, I'm sure, of entertainment. George, do I ever get kill team bans? I do. I'm actually working on a bit of a kill team here as part of commission. This is, I don't know how you say it. Is it Arbides? This is the arrestor dude, cast or something. So I have 2 boxes of that kill team to paint up for one of my other clients. And I'm quite happy with how he's turned out. And you guys have dropped out on me. Why did the camera stop? Give me a second. Let me try and fix this for you. Are we back? No, we're not back. Bruh. What's happening here? Sorry guys, bear with me. See if I can get this up and running again. Bloody hell. I don't know what's going on here, guys. I've lost yous. I think I might have to just restart this. Apologies, people. I don't know what the fuck happened there. Give me 2 minutes, I'm going to restart the stream. I'll see you hopefully in a minute. Bye.